Mic check. What's going on? Welcome back to another Hip-Hop Snapshot. I'm your host, Ross Martinez, and I'm sorry. I know I've been gone for a while, but I'm back because something this week spoke loudly, and I heard it all the way from New York. This week, history was made. Zohran Mamdani has been elected as the mayor of New York City, but what caught my eye is when he stood at the podium, he said 4 words that echoed a historian in hip-hop. He said, turn the volume up. I heard those words. I was like, ooh, I know where those come from. That's KRS-One. That's Boogie Down Productions. And that's the heartbeat of a culture that was never meant to whisper. So yeah, I'm back. You know what time it is. Grab a milk crate, take a seat. It's time to talk hip-hop history. Before hip-hop filled arenas, it filled the void of a forgotten borough. The Bronx. It was burning, poverty, neglect, broken systems. Seems to be a recurrent thing in history that we keep getting forgotten. And in that fire, a student of philosophy and struggle emerged. His name, Lawrence Parker, soon to become KRS-One, which stands for Knowledge Reigns Supreme over nearly everyone. He was living in shelters, reading in libraries, finding the truth in what some would call the ruins. He turned knowledge into rhythm and paired up with a fellow social worker and a mentor of his, DJ Scott LaRock. They formed the group Boogie Down Productions, not to party, but to use their platform responsible. Not to party, but to use their platform for the right reasons. When their debut album, Criminal Minded, dropped in 1987, it wasn't just an album, it was a declaration of education and entertainment. But unfortunately, Scott LaRock was murdered while trying to break up a fight not too long after that. And the mission evolved out of that loss. Hip-hop stopped being just a voice for the block. It became the conscience of a culture that would be studied globally. KRS-One didn't chase hits, he built history. Out of grief, he launched the Stop the Violence movement, and with that movement, he challenged fellow rappers, politicians, and fans to see hip-hop not as a threat, but as therapy. Songs like My Philosophy, You Must Learn, and Why Is That? Those 3 songs turned rhyme into curriculum. He coined the word edutainment, which is just education plus entertainment, which would eventually become an album, and the idea spread like wildfire. Suddenly, hip-hop wasn't just bars, it was a blueprint, a weapon for awareness, a microphone against oppression. The classroom moved to the streets, and KRS-One became the professor. He taught that hip-hop wasn't just something you do, hip-hop is something you live. KRS-One, the professor himself, built a foundation. And the world started building schools on top of that foundation because rebellion speaks the same language everywhere, and hip-hop became the translator. Places like in France, artists like IAM and Suprême NTM took hip-hop's defiance and the attitude and turned it into the soundtrack of immigrant resistance. They rapped about police brutality, identity, and racism, and they made the suburbs of Paris sound like the South Bronx with a twist. In Brazil, hip-hop became a tool for survival in the favelas. Groups like Racionais MCs used their platforms to expose inequality, government corruption, and violence, while giving kids an alternative to being silent and feeling despair. And in Germany, acts like Advanced Chemistry and Torch, they used hip-hop to push back against neo-Nazism and xenophobia. For immigrant communities, it became more than music. It was identity. It was resistance. It became belonging to a community, to a culture. And across it all, the philosophy of KRS-One echoed knowledge, respect, and empowerment. Hip-hop as a mirror, as a megaphone, and as a bridge between communities. That's what hip-hop is. But it gets better than that. In 2001, hip-hop officially made it to the United Nations, the UN. Led by KRS-One and pioneers from across the world, they all signed the Hip-Hop Declaration of Peace, officially recognizing hip-hop as a global culture, not just a top 40 hit that you would hear in a marketing campaign. 18 principles is what that stood on. Some of them: unity, education, nonviolence, economic independence, the same values that built Cedric Avenue, now guiding the globe. KRS-One wasn't just teaching anymore. He was legitimizing the classroom, turning hip-hop from a subculture into a full-blown civilization. Ask anyone who studies the craft. You can't talk about hip-hop's heart without talking about KRS-One. He's the reason people like yourself and me study the roots instead of just chasing the hits. He made being curious cool. He made knowledge sacred. He made you want to understand the music, not just play who was hot that month. He built the bridge between the block and the book, and because of that, every generation since has had a way to find itself and to speak up when they felt ostracized. Just look around. The protests in the streets, the chants on social media, the murals, the documentaries. Hip-hop is still the pulse of the revolution. From Paris to Brazil to Germany to United States, when the people rise, hip-hop amplifies. It's the rhythm of resistance, the poetry of protest, and the language of liberation. And that's the ultimate legacy of the Professor, KRS-One, and Scott LaRock from Boogie Down Productions. They didn't just teach hip-hop how to rhyme, they taught hip-hop how to have meaning and purpose. 52 years in now, as hip-hop is evolving constantly. And the message is still the same. When the world tries to silence you, when truth gets buried underneath algorithms and trends, when the culture feels like it's losing its soul, remember these 4 words. Turn the volume up. All right, mic check, mic check. That's another episode of Hip-Hop Snapshots. I'm your host, Ross Martinez. I apologize for being gone for so long. I really do love this podcast. This is something that is more of a passion project than anything. I kind of started getting down this path because of KRS-One and his teachings on YouTube, and it's kind of led me down my own path of hopefully one day meeting Lupe Fiasco and taking his class at John Morris. Like, I would love that. But thank you for tuning in. I'll be more consistent. And until next time, stay loud, stay curious, and above everything, you remember, be hip-hop. I'm out. Peace.